So today we're going to be looking at 5 players the Indiana Fever could end up drafting in the WNBA Draft. These are going to be kind of the players that might be expected of them to fall to number 8. And they're all players that I do think fills a need for the Fever. I'm making the assumptions that we've got Kelsey Mitchell's coming back and Alyssa Smith is gone. They're the assumptions that I'm making here. If it turns out that Kelsey Mitchell's gone and Alyssa Smith stays, then everything's out the window. And everything's absolutely out the window. You need like a guard that might be able to play beside Caitlin. That's where you maybe start to look at like your Tahina Pow-Pows of the world. And then maybe go into your second round pick. And like, who do you get? Who do you get from the second round? You get like a Van Lith in the second round and hope that she can fill the Kelsey Mitchell role, which she obviously can't. But yeah, if they lose Kelsey Mitchell, the Fever are screwed. They're genuinely screwed. But yeah, let's go over the 5 players now. And if you guys agree with this, if you guys agree that these are the 5, subscribe. We're trying to hit 40.5k by Christmas, and right now we are just over 100 away. If we can hit 40.4k by the end of the day, we might be able to do that. So anyway, first player, like, we got to talk about it, AZ Fudd. I think AZ Fudd more than likely stays at UConn. I think she hasn't really gotten a fair crack at it. She's someone that even when healthy, I still don't, like, a lot of people had her going 3 to Chicago. I'm like, I don't see her, if she goes in this draft, really going in the first round. But if she stays healthy, if she can get herself healthy and stays healthy, it'll be good. On the season, she's barely played, but she's only averaging 8.3 points. She only played 2 games last year. She only played 15 games the year before. Like, AZ Fudd has played in 23 games in 2 years. She has played in 48 games. 48 games in college, and she's a senior. Like, she was good as a freshman. But since her freshman season, you're looking 34% from 3 through 15 games. 28%, and she will only shoot wide open off the catch and shoot, really. She's got a quick release, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, I think she's been good in games. She was good against Ole Miss. Her shot hasn't really even fallen at all this year. But a lot of people, like, because she was this highly ranked high school player, and we're seeing it with Paige Beckers, who's still the without question guaranteed number 1 overall pick. And despite the fact she's not having the greatest year in the world in college, players in the WNBA get a lot of, like, based on where they were, how good they were in high school, they'll get a lot of like extra coverage, especially if you were a UConn player. And to be fair, if you're Paige Becker's friend, that does help. But yeah, I think there's going to be a dumb front office that takes AZ Fudd in the first round. I don't think it'll be Indiana, but I'm just might as well put her in as a, like, tiny bit of a chance it happens. Then we're looking at the player that the Tankathon mock draft says is likely to be the Fever's pick, and that is Ija Sivka. So Ija Sivka, is it wrong player? Ija Sivka is somebody that isn't going to be in, like, she can't play in the WNBA next season as a prioritization rules. She is 4 years younger than Paige Beckers. She's 4.5 years younger than what's her name? She's 4.5 years younger than Hailey Van Lith. She is nearly 6 years younger. I'm not joking. She is nearly 6 years younger than Sedona Prince. And a lot of people might say, surely you would take Sedona Prince. Someone's going to take her in the second round. I think maybe late first round. Like, she's one of the best bigs in college. She's just going to be 25 years old in her rookie year, to start her rookie year. And yeah, like, she's what, 2 years older nearly than Leah Boston. Sorry, she's nearly 2 years older than Leah Boston. She's over 2 years older than Angel Reese. So I mean, I wouldn't take use a first rounder on a 25-year-old. But yeah, you've got Ija Sivka, who is a 6'4", 6'3" sniper who can play a bit of defense, isn't probably ready to play in the WNBA right away. But she's 19. She turned 19 years old a couple of weeks ago. Only a couple of weeks ago. She's so young. She's got the length. And it's Leonie Fiebich type players don't grow on trees. Guards with the ability to shoot the three ball and guard on the perimeter don't grow on trees. Especially, 6'4" guards don't. And we saw it. How backwards the WNBA thinking was. Like Leonie Fiebich at 6'4". She is a 6'4" wing. She's the equivalent of almost like a 6'10" 3-and-D lockdown player in the NBA. And I remember when she was first playing at the start of the year, they were like, oh, I think she might struggle in the WNBA. She's not really a post-up player. I'm like, why are you putting the wing in the post? Like, these players don't grow on trees, and Ija Sivka is one of them. It's just whether or not Indiana are willing to wait until, like, she's not going to come over next year. 2, I'm not even sure she's going to be ready in 2026. But I do think that if she was in college, she'd be a top 3 pick in the 2027 WNBA draft, in what is a stacked WNBA draft. And I mean that when I say top 3. Like, I might have her over Madison Booker. And she's that level of player. I just think that you can get a top 3 level talent at 8 if you're willing to just wait on her a little bit. And a perfect complementary player to Caitlin Clark. But the problem is you have to wait. Then there is Sonia Citron. And there's a reason why I have the picture of her beside Caitlin Clark on the all-tournament team. I'm not going to lie. If you told me that, like, they were cousins, you would not, like, no one will question it. Like, genuinely. They are, she is a slightly more tanned Caitlin Clark. They look so similar as people. But, yeah, like, Sonia Citron is doing okay for Notre Dame. She's averaging 14, 5, 2.4 assists. Her shooting is kind of coming back. Like, she was shooting 25% from 3 for a while. Now she's back up to 36%. And in fairness, like, when it comes to her 3-point shooting, she has had a couple of, like, she's got her 3-point shot up a lot in her percentage up in games that don't really count. And it's, like, looking passable right now. And she's been a really good defender. I think she's a really disciplined defender. She's not going to go and, like, lock somebody down one-on-one. But what she is that she's a good off-ball defender. She makes it hard to get the ball if she's guarding you. And that's kind of what the Fever need. Like, I think, I've said it from the start, I think she might just be a better Lexi Hull. Like, that's realistically what I would say for her is she is Lexi Hull with more upside. And she's equally as good a shooter. I think she's probably not as good as getting over screens and drawing charges as Lexi Hull, but she's more disciplined. And imagine having Hull starting Citron on the bench. Because we saw how much the team struggled last year without Lexi Hull on the floor. And now you've got, like, a backup for Lexi Hull, which means you can use Katie Lou Samuelson purely as a backup power forward. And I think she could be really, really good coming off the bench. Then there is Janiah Barker, who I think this is one of those situations where it's like the idea of Janiah Barker might be better than the player. She is like lottery pick potential, but if she could be she's boom or bust. Like, she is a 6'4" wing forward who's actually a good defender, can handle it a little bit, is very, very fluid with her moving. But she's shooting 18% from 3 on the year. She's shot in the 30s in other seasons of her college career, but she's still shooting 18% on the year. Like, since moving to UCLA, she's not even starting for UCLA. But again, 10 points, 8 boards in 20 minutes is good. It is good. And she's shooting a very good percentage from inside the 3-point line. The problem is that you don't want an Alyssa Smith problem of a non-shooter. And she was somebody who was shooting well up till this season. She's just really, really struggling from 3. And regardless of everything that she has good going for her, I still think it's a tough one. it's a tough one really to use that pick on her. Use an 8 pick on someone who is boom or bust. But I also think she may have a higher bust potential than an Aisha Sivka. I think if you're going to go boom or bust, I'd rather it be Sivka than Barker. And then if Nalissa Smith is gone and you don't get Satu, I think Anissa Morrow is a great player to have a power forward. She's currently averaging 18.3 points and 14 boards a game. You're like, oh, she's 6'1", but it's like, yeah, so is Fee Collier. Fee Collier is what, 6 foot? She's taller than Fee. She is an elite rebounder. Like, you look at all her seasons, like her 2 years at DePaul, 13.8, 12.2 rebounds a game. Last year, 10. She's averaged a double-double every year of her college career. Averaged 25.7 points when she was at DePaul. The only problem is that she's not shooting the 3-ball at all. Shooting 45% in a year, but like she's barely shooting them. At DePaul, she shot 25% on a much higher amount. I want to see, is there a total here? Like, she's shooting... she's up to like just under a 3 a game, in fairness. But like, she hadn't even shot enough shots to qualify like 3 or 4 games ago. And LSU as well, they do have the easiest schedule known to man. They're playing nobody. They're genuinely, outside of Stanford, who they beat in overtime, they're playing nobody. Like, they're 14-0, and they've had, the only ranked team they played was, like, NC State or something? Have they played anyone good? They played NC State. NC State are not good. That's the only ranked opponent they've played out of conference. So, I think Anissa Morrow she gives them the energy. She can't really shoot the ball, but she runs hard. She rebounds the heck out of the ball. 2 things the Fever really need. And I think she's a player that could go really well with Caitlin Clark. A lot of people thought she was going to go 3rd at the start of the year. Well, initially. And I just think the way the draft goes, I can see her falling to 8 because Chicago, she can't be on the floor with Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and Kennedy Carter. Simply put, she can't. Washington, they'll end up playing her a small forward. They don't need her as small forward. 5 is the Valkyries. The Valkyries might take her. But if Kiki Uriafen's available, which she probably will be, they're going to take Kiki. And then after that, 6 is going to be who had the 6 pick? The Mystics again. They don't need her. The Liberty, I would be shocked if the Liberty don't take one of Sivka or Dominique Malonga. And then she's likely going to be there at 8. And at 8, I think she'd be a great pick for Indiana. So anyway, yeah, that's a video. Personally, my pick for who it would be, I would take Anissa Morrow. If all of them were available, I'm taking Anissa Morrow. I just think that energy and rebounding is more important than what Citron does. Next, I would take Citron. I think Sivka has got the higher potential than Citron, but I don't think she's going to come over next year. I think Sonia Citron helps this team in the short term, and especially while she's on her rookie contract, she will help this team a lot. And yeah, I really hate the AZ foot pick, and I'm not sold on Janiyah Barker yet. But anyway, I'll see you guys.